Whoosh. Not so bad. Oh. Whoosh.
Why do you like mountain climbing?
Because you get high when you fuck your knees up. Oh. Saying that I love, and that's like singing the blues is different from having the blues, and not everybody knows that. When people feel empty, they go searching for themselves, you know, and that's when they're inclined to go into the wilderness. And there are certain places in the wilderness that match you, and when you sit in them you feel fulfilled. And it's not an intellectual thing, it's an acoustic thing, you know. You feel that there is healing in that place, or you feel like it's mirroring you. And the thing is that nature is a language, and you can see how nature transcends into the answer. And through that, then, and I will put this in electrical engineering terms again, then his electrical domain increases, and then he feels larger, and his capacity to pass charge on increases, and his healing comes to him. And as he passes on that charge, and his tone gets higher, and his state of consciousness gets greater, and it becomes easy to answer those questions. But then in saying that, answering those questions and then passing those answers on aren't going to solve anything, because it's the sensation that he's getting that really does it, you know. And if he then goes back into the town, he's going to have this energy, and he's going to pass it on, and people will probably eat it up because it will be beautiful and it'll be lovely. But the thing is unless those people are thirsty themselves, they're not going to have that experience. They're just going to eat, you know what I mean? Like if somebody is just at their home and they get given a lovely dinner and they eat it, they're just gonna like it. It's not until you're starving that you actually get the lesson of what the food is. So I reckon it's the starvation that actually gets someone to go out and find something, you know? Not necessarily the fulfillment, you know? And there's an old saying that I love, and that's like, singing the blues is different from having the blues. And not everybody knows that.
Why are you finding yourself halfway across the world, from New Zealand, from Aotearoa?
I'm just following the song. Why the land of the Incas? I don't have a short answer for that. You know, like, the short answer is I'm just singing, you know? I'm just following the song. That's it. If the song was different, then it would be a different journey. But this is the song. You know, that's the short answer. The long answer is that, you know, I study the major magnetic fields around the Earth, and there are plenty here, and there are mountains, and there are jungles, and there is diversity. You know, there is a lot of up, and there is a lot of down.
Is it a good place to study?
It's a good place to study, yeah.
How so?
Well, the mountains are singing, you know. That's the thing. You know, this is full of power places, you know, and not to mention, you know, there are power places everywhere. But when you have a culture that was aware of these power places, which, in saying that, it's most cultures on Earth, you know, like just like yesterday when I was showing you our closest major magnetic field, and you're like, bang, that's exactly the Inca Trail, you know. I know stuff like that. So that encourages me, because those trails are marked out, you know. The fact that that masters have walked those trails in the past means that people can walk them today, you know. So that's what humans should do, you know. I'm not talking about smart monkeys, I'm talking about humans. That's what humans do. They walk those paths. They walk those paths because those paths have lessons, and they go to places where they cross, and those places are real universities. They're places where energy meets and compresses, and when you have compression of energy or compression of charge, then you have quite literally a higher acoustic, and you can use different aspects of yourself to locate memory, you know. Like, if you're just at one energy level, you can only store charge there, you know, and if you hit that one, then you can store charge there. And the thing is that it's easier to go down than it is to go up. So if you walk up, then you have all that access below you to put all your memories into place and to have those experiences, you know.
Oh, this is some serious work.
Memory isn't just putting information in a place and being able to access it. It's a charge, you know. And the only way that I would explain that is to explain how water works, you know, and how if water goes through a 90-degree angle, it doesn't pass charge on, can't pass energy on. Water tastes gross if it goes through a 90 degrees bend, because it doesn't have the spiral, you know. And the spiral is the same science behind all energy, you know. If you want to be a capacitor, you have to have charge, and you have to work with that phi spiral, and so on and so forth, you know. And, you know, longitudinal compression waves, you know, all this stuff that takes some time to explain. So, you know, like when you say, like, you know, like a short answer, it has to be a short answer, like following the song, you know. But if people really want to understand, then you have to go through the long answer, because even though something can take, you know, half an hour, 40 minutes to explain, you know, once that's done, then the understanding can become simple, you know. And it is simple, you know. Like when I'm looking at a river, you know, it's as simple as that. But what I see isn't necessarily what other people see, you know. And what people can intuitively get from going out into the wilderness is different from having gone through all the complicated stuff to understand it, so that you can actually try and pass that transmission on to other people. You know, it's a funny thing. There's just so many ways to gain nourishment from things. So it's you know, what are you gonna do?
There's a bit of a gap between understanding and being, isn't it?
Fucking A. And it's nice when you can marry them both, because that's wisdom, you know. It's nice to have knowledge, you know, and it's nice to feel that song. It's nice to be empty and feel it. And then it's also nice to understand how nature works, you know. It's nice to take that microscope and have a look at it and understand its geometries and its shapes and its relationships, you know.
Yeah.
And then to zoom out and see those shapes again, and then to zoom out and see those shapes again, you know. And then where I can't go, to then take somebody's 40 years of research, and for me to digest that within a week, and then to have that person's 40 years of research, and, you know, and see how it all embeds within itself, and then to feel that, and that when I'm having that breath, you know, that I have that memory as well, but it's really just capacity, you know. And then to sense where that charge is, you know, and so on and so forth, you know, and work with my electrical domain, you know, work with my know thyself, you know. To know thyself is to know my environment, to know how I'm connected to my environment, and to walk around in thyself, and to feel how that self can expand and contract, you know, not just because of place, but because of time, you know. And then to put myself in that, and to know that that self has that ability to be small or to be large, and the myriad things in amongst that, you know, that's true knowledge of self, because it's selfless, you know, that's the whole thing. And the reason why I use electrical engineering terms is because I want people to know. Because if I smell something sweet, you know, I want to recreate that smell. You know, if I enjoy some type of food, then I want to recreate that and then give it to my beloved and say, isn't that great, you know? It's a funny old thing. But there are so many ways that you can fucking rip into the earth and try and get that nectar, you know? But in saying that, you know, lots of things live there, so you want to be as fucking peaceful as possible. Think that work is a hard thing, you know, that like if you want to succeed, then you got to put in the work, and to some extent that's the case, but following your enthusiasm is your beacon, you know. If you want to know if you're on the right track, then follow your enthusiasm, you know, and if you have your enthusiasm in line, then you can put in that hard work.
And always remember, smoke my pleasure. Gosh. That's dry.